I've said it before and I'll say it again, the N64 controller is probably got to be one of the most divisive controllers out there. Recently enough I built one of these blue retro Bluetooth receivers for the N64, and since then I've had a blast testing out different controllers for the system. So in this video I'm going to go over a few and show you the best that I've used so far. In at number 10 is just this random Android Bluetooth controller that I picked up. I'd done a video about this recently enough when I was talking about portable handheld gaming, and this is a Bluetooth controller, so I just thought, you know what, let's have a look to see if I can do it. And it's not a very good controller for the N64, this is mere just let's see if it works, and it did. So it's handy enough. It's good if you're stuck in a pinch. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's fun. Next up is this random generic wireless AliExpress controller. This thing is absolutely butt ugly to look at. It plays fine, it plays better than it actually looks, but it's still a good laugh, and it's good that it's wireless as well, without needing any kind of Bluetooth. It borrows influence for the retro fighter controllers, the Brawler 64s. It's alright, it's not the best, but it's fun. It's a good conversation piece. Next up is the PlayStation 5 controller. Now I absolutely love the PlayStation 5 controller. Is it good for the N64? No really. One of the most fun things about having these controllers and basically just messing with different controllers through Bluetooth is finding out what the controls are, because I think the button maps are just random. I don't know if they're kind of placed any specific way. There is a way to change them through the Blue Retro IO, but I'm not going to do that, that's no fun. Next up is the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. Now again, this is cool just to kind of play Smash and things like that. It is missing a ton of buttons, so you just need like a basic game for this controller. Again, it's one of the things where it's cool and I'm only doing it because I can, and playing the N64 with one of the newer controllers I think is just interesting, it's just funny, I like it. Next up, this is actually one of my favourite controllers, and I remember seeing this back in the day. This is the MakoPad 64. This is the mere kind of joypad inspired controller for the N64, mere traditional sense. When I saw this back in the day, I was like, oh man, I'll have to get one of them, but I never did. And recently enough, through collecting and picking up random odds and ends, I came across this at a good price and I just knew how to pick it up. It's probably one of the strangest controllers, but it's actually really good. It's good for, you know, needing that joypad feel. Next up, using a Wii remote and the classic controller plugged in. Again, this is connected via Bluetooth, and again this was just to kind of see if it worked, because when GoldenEye was re-released on the Wii, I think it came with a gold classic controller, so I thought it's a bit fitting to try and use a classic controller on the N64, and I'll say I think it worked pretty well. Now the Ultra Racer 64, I actually picked this up recently enough at Birmingham Gaming Expo, and this has turned into actually one of my best controllers. I consider this the challenge controller, because it is just a basic controller. It's just, you know, it's just the same buttons and everything as a controller, but just in a different format. You can play every game with this. The wheel control in the middle is just like your analog, so it turns your character left and right, and it makes things very interesting. Now, the original N64 controller, what can I say? This is it, this is the daddy. I've put this on the list because it's one of the best controllers for the system. The analog stick obviously is designed for the N64. Love it or hate it, the N64 controller did usher in some new innovation when it came to 3D controlling, and every time I play the N64 I have to go back to this. I do love the OG N64 controller. Recently when we were in Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I picked up this Brawler 64 for retro fighters. Now this one is actually intended for use with PC and Nintendo Switch, however it is just a Bluetooth controller, so with a Bluetooth dongle I was able to connect it. This has all the buttons you need for the N64, and this is probably one of the better joypad controllers for it. If you're looking for that kind of traditional joypad feel, this is it. And for me now, this is the absolute master of the N64 controllers. This is the NSO N64 controller. So this is the N64 controller that was released to coincide with the Nintendo Switch online service. It is just a Bluetooth controller again, so it can just connect using this blue retro connector. And for me, this is the best of both worlds. The traditional N64 controller, the new controller, wireless, all that fun stuff, and the stick is glorious. And there we have it, that is my top 10 controllers for the N64. A wee bit out there, there's some kind of mad controllers I think, and there's probably a ton that I missed. But guys, let me know down below, what do you think? Am I talking shite? Do you agree with some of them? Are there any that I missed? I don't know. But please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.